Very possible that nearly 800,000 Ohioans are about to lose their health care because of Trump, Musk, and congressional Republicans.
You guys better put a little pep in your step. The end of America isn't coming. It's here. And if y'all don't get a little more outraged, you're going to spend the rest of your life being a fucking slave.
Bye, America. I believe that your economy has fallen past the point of no return and cannot recover for decades.
Listen up. This isn't about left or right, red or blue. This is about us, the American people, standing at a crossroads with history watching. If we don't act now, we might wake up to find we're no longer citizens of a free nation. We're subjects of a regime. The warning signs are flashing like a Vegas marquee. A government that twists the judiciary to serve its own interests? Check. Loyalists embedded in every major position of power? Check. A media landscape slowly being corralled and controlled? Absolutely. And then there's the reckless foreign policy, alienating allies, cozying up to autocrats, and playing a high-stakes game with global stability. Sound familiar? It should. History has seen this pattern before, and spoiler alert, it never ends well.
I don't know, guys. Maybe I got it wrong, right? Maybe I don't know what it means to be a real American, and you guys can help me out, but like, how do you call yourself an American and you're not more outraged at the attack on your constitutional rights? You're not outraged that civil rights and women's rights are currently regressing in the United States. You guys call yourself freedom-fighting, veteran-loving, hard-working Americans. Your grandparents fought Nazis, but you're not the slightest bit outraged that some ketamine-sniffing space nerd is Sig Heiling at the presidential inauguration. We're Americans. We used to bully the bullies. None of you guys are outraged that our president is funding a genocide against Palestinian children so we can have access to prime real estate. None of you guys are outraged enough at the attack on the working class. I mean, for Christ's sake, the abolishment of veteran affairs, the proposed budget cuts to Medicaid, the Department of Education being completely obliterated and defunded, firing of federal employees, the abolishment of employee rights. They are defunding EEOC, OSHA, the Department of Labor, the Department of Human Rights, and the unions that protect you. Also, the oligarch can work you harder, charge you more, and pay you less because hoarding 99% of American wealth wasn't enough. They want the 1% that we have left, right? How are you not outraged that a shittily built Cybertruck is more federally protected than your children in school? Or that our president is selling actual human beings into El Salvadorian slavery? You don't have access to free healthcare or food that doesn't create a need for healthcare that they overcharge you for, but your tax dollars go to his golf trips in Mar-a-Lago so he can attend the Daytona 500 and the Super Bowl. JD Vance will hop on stage and tell you America needs more babies while doing fuck all to educate the ones we have, or stop them from becoming victims of mass and school shootings. This has got to be a joke. I'm really struggling with this. I don't get it. Our president is committing crimes against humanity, war crimes, treason against America, and acts of sedition, and y'all ain't even outraged. Where's the call to action? You know, in Serbia, they had an 800,000 person protest over 15 dead citizens. Georgia and Greece are in an open revolution against greedy politicians. Germany is protesting every day to stop an alt-right uprising. Ukraine is in an all-out war with Russia to protect Europe and the rest of the world from Putin. And South Africa is dismantling hundreds of years of colonizers. But what are Americans doing? We got Democrats being performative at best and Americans boycotting Amazon for one day. For one day. You guys better put a little pep in your step. The end of America isn't coming. It's here. And if y'all don't get a little more outraged, you're going to spend the rest of your life being a fucking slave.
Imagine if you lost your health care. No coverage. It is very possible that nearly 800,000 Ohioans are about to lose their health care because of Trump, Musk, and congressional Republicans. 5 things you should know. Number one, in this new budget that they have proposed, in order to pay for tax giveaways to billionaires and big corporations, they have to cut about $800 billion in health care. Number two, the health care program they're going to focus on is Medicaid, and we're talking about 2.4 million Ohioans rely on it, 40% of whom are children. Number three, Ohio is a state that has what are called trigger laws. If the federal share of Medicaid goes down below 90%, all of the expansion folks, the folks that are on Medicaid, because of the recent expansion work, they lose their health care. Number 4, when you take this much money out of the healthcare system, you are going to see hospitals or services within those hospitals or doctors near those hospitals shutter their doors. A lot of our hospitals have a few days of revenue. That's it. This means that even if you don't get your health care through Medicaid, you still may lose access to health care. Number 5, they do not have to do this. There's a better way. I have proposed that 100% of all the tax relief that they would like to pursue be done just for low-income families, middle-class families, working people, farmers, and small businesses. Even if they got rid of the tax giveaways to the top 2% of wage earners, that saves them $2.4 trillion. They don't have to cut any of your health care. The debate on these health care cuts is going to happen in the Energy and Commerce Committee. I'm on the Energy and Commerce Committee, and I'm going to do everything in my power to stop these cuts.
This right here could impact over 90 million Americans, including nearly half of all children in the U.S., yet lawmakers are pushing for one of the largest Medicaid cuts in U.S. history. If they succeed, millions of people, kids, parents, elders, people with disabilities could lose access to care that they depend on. Medicaid isn't just another government program, it's a lifeline. And it's the #1 payer of reproductive health care in America, covering birth control, pregnancy care, cancer screenings, emergency room visits, and life-saving medication. Medicaid is also crucial for pregnant people, covering 41% of all births in the U.S. Some of the lawmakers pushing for this massive cut claim to be pro-life, but there is nothing pro-life about this. Slashing $880 billion from Medicaid means that parents will lose access to prenatal and postpartum care. It means sick children won't be covered if they have to go to the ER. It means people's lives will be at risk. How can you call yourself pro-life while refusing to support healthcare that keeps people alive? If you believe that healthcare is a right and not a privilege, then take action at the link in our bio and join us in saying hands off Medicaid.
I believe that your economy has fallen past the point of no return and cannot recover for decades as the economy ratchets itself downward. You think markets are falling now? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, it's going to get a lot worse. Trump's hissy fits over tariffs exposes a flagrant flaw in how America now conducts itself. Your country was built on a handshake, when a man's word was his bond, built on trust, built on integrity, built on laws. Not anymore. America, through Donald Trump, has unilaterally pulled out of just about every contract and accord. I repeat, unilaterally. The tariffs with Canada were to be renegotiated within months, but that wasn't good enough for Donald Trump, so he ripped the agreement up unilaterally. The world is watching. Let's see, what else has he pulled out of? Well, there's the Paris Agreement, the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, the Iran nuclear deal, their Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, not to mention pulling out of Afghanistan and Syria, and now pulling out of supporting Ukraine, and is in the process of justifying pulling out of NATO, not to mention unilaterally canceling employment contracts with thousands of his own federal workers. The world is watching. Why bother negotiate with a partner who won't honor their own agreements? It's pointless. America can no longer be trusted thanks to their current president. CEOs across the world now are being told that contracts with American corporations aren't worth shit, okay? Political leaders of governments around the world now know that accords with them.
Let's talk about the man at the center of it all. Donald Trump doesn't care if you wear a MAGA hat or not. He's not in this for you, for me, or for America. He's in it for one thing: power. If you think a second Trump term would be chaotic, imagine a lifetime of Trump in control. A president for life scenario might seem extreme, but authoritarian rule doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in, inch by inch, while people convince themselves that could never happen here. But the truth is, it can, and it will, unless we stand up and stop it. Staying silent isn't just a gamble on our future. It's a betrayal of generations to come. A nation that turns its back on democracy, that isolates itself from the world, that lets power concentrate in the hands of one man, that's not a leader of the free world. That's a warning from history. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. This isn't about party lines, it's about the fate of America itself, the dignity our forefathers fought and died for. If we don't defend it now, peacefully, democratically, but decisively, we may one day regret ever taking our freedom for granted. The choice is ours. What kind of America do you want to wake up in?
Can't run an economy under the whim of a couple of neurons hidden somewhere in the back of one man's head, Donald J. Trump. China knows just to sit back and let America implode. The only way you can stop this slide now is by Congress removing Donald Trump from office. But there are no balls in either the Senate or the House. Not a man with the integrity or courage to put the nation ahead of their own personal needs as they worship their God, Donald J. Trump. Such weakness the world has never seen. America First is now purely America alone, isolated from the world, and getting poorer and weaker with each passing day.
Trump is expected to sign an executive order today that would begin the dismantling of the Department of Education. It is March 20th, 2025, and a senior administration official said the federal funding for students with disabilities who fall under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, along with Title I funding for low-income schools and federal student loan payments, will not be changed by this executive order. A White House spokesperson said that this action will expand educational opportunities, will empower parents, students, and communities to take control and improve outcomes for all students. But of course, the reality is going to look a lot different. It is more likely that educational opportunities will expand for the wealthy and decrease for, folks who don't have as much money. A degradation of quality of education is likely to occur as well. This is just my opinion, but a lot of money goes into poorer states in the United States from the federal government to help boost those schools up so that those children are getting, quality education, just like the wealthier counterparts in other parts of the country. Bluer states and states that have quite a bit of money tend to do pretty well with their education anyway. A lot of the funding comes from state taxes as is. However, redder states and states with less money tend to rely heavier on the federal government for funding. So when that funding starts getting taken away, the state will have to make up for it if education is a priority for them, and if they want to, keep a certain level of quality education in their state. They're going to have to boost state taxes by quite a bit to bridge the lack of federal funding that's coming in. So again, this is going to disproportionately impact, different parts of the country. It will definitely hit lower income areas harder than higher income areas.
The foundation of any democracy is an independent judiciary. Without it, the system of checks and balances collapses, consolidating power into the hands of a few. But what happens when a government starts undermining the courts, installing loyalists in key positions, silencing the press, and pushing through foreign policy with brute force? These aren't hypotheticals. They're real concerns shaping America's political landscape right now. A government that openly defies judicial authority is treading a dangerous path. The Trump administration's recent actions have sparked serious debate over whether the courts are being compromised. Publicly attacking judges, dismissing rulings as biased, even floating the idea of impeaching those who don't rule in its favor. These are tactics pulled straight from the authoritarian playbook. When the judiciary stops being independent and starts serving the executive branch, justice isn't blind, it's controlled. And on the global stage, America is isolating itself instead of strengthening alliances. Trade wars with long-standing partners, public clashes with allies, and distancing from global institutions have left the country more vulnerable than ever. Strong democracies thrive on cooperation, not isolation. But a government bent on consolidating power sees alliances as liabilities, not assets. The question isn't whether these signs are alarming. They are. The real question is whether Americans will recognize what's happening before it's too late. Democracies don't collapse overnight. They erode, little by little, while people convince themselves it could never happen here. But history tells a different story. Are we witnessing a slow-motion slide into authoritarianism? Or is this just another chapter in American politics? Let's talk. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into today's most pressing issues, don't forget to like and subscribe.